Hey, everybody. It's Charles Jenkins. I am so excited that you are joining me tonight. Welcome to W. W stands for wisdom. Wisdom is supreme intelligence. And when you've got wisdom, you are working well and you are winning at the highest levels. I'm so excited tonight. I've always wanted to learn how to trade. I've always wanted to get into this whole stock thing. I remember in high school, I took a class, an economics class that had stocks a part of the class. And I didn't pay attention as I should. And my mother was trying to get me engaged. And so here I am so many years later. And I want to jump right in. I want y'all to welcome longtime family member, Teri Ijeoma. What's up, Teri?
Hey, Pastor Jenkins, how are you?
I'm extraordinary. Thank you for hanging out.
Of course, of course. You sound like me. In high school, I actually was my senior year, Google was IPOing and it was $83. And I wish I had known how to do it back then,
Oh,
but we didn't know what we were doing. Now it's like $2,000. It's crazy. You sound like me.
I was on a Don't Make Sense program back then. My mom was trying to help me, but sorry, mom. But here I am tonight. I'm so excited. Thank you for making time. Thank you for jumping in. I have watched your journey. I look back at a message. I don't know if you remember this, but you sent me a message. I guess it was in 2018. I think it may have been. And it
I'm
said,
like, what did it say? I'm curious too. I'm like, what is that?
you know what? I'm gonna go to the message. I'm gonna pull up the message. I was like, whoa, let me go pull up the message. You're probably not gonna believe it. Here we go. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Here it is. My first goal was $100 a day. Then I needed $300 a day in order to quit my job. And now I'm averaging about $1,000 a day. So let me know when you're free so I can tell you more. That was November 14th, 2018.
Wow. Wow.
So here we are today having the conversation.
Oh my gosh. You know what's crazy? So when I quit my job, that just like that text said, I needed $300 a day to replace my assistant principal income. I was assistant principal of elementary school. Now, just recently, I made like $300,000 in a day. And it's just like, look at God in just 2 years, like the growth. But I was so excited about my 300. Like when I sent you, I remember when I sent you that text, I was like, I can't believe that I just made $1,000. Oh my God.
Yeah. So for everybody viewing, we have had
Man.
conversations that since then. Her life has been amazingly out of control. We're going to hear about that, and of course, I've been all over the place. But let's back up and come forward because I know everybody wants to hear about how can I make $300 in a day, let alone 300,000. Let's go back though and come up. Where you from? Give us a snapshot. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
From Dallas, Texas, grew up with single mom and a grandmother, three generations of women in the house. Ended up going to MIT for undergrad, then moving to Chicago. That's where I originally met you, Pastor Jenkins,
Fellowship.
and the fellowship family. Yes. Then did education and nonprofits for about 10 years, but I always traded on the side because I had interned at MIT. That's where I went to undergrad. I had interned on Wall Street. So it had always been like this hobby that I did on the side. And now I'm here. When my bosses got crazy, I said, look here, I know another way to make money. I'm about to make this trading my full-time thing, and started working at it and quit my job and started traveling and just trading full time.
This excites me um, because over time, as we shared, I've hosted some gatherings and events and fellowship around finances and all of that kind of stuff, and saw so many people's lives change because they attended classes. They they engaged content, they followed through. There are some people who became millionaires. Some became very, very successful, as my mom will say, well off, because they engaged the content. And so this excites me because I feel like for somebody watching, this is the beginning of a game changing, life changing moment in your life. And I forget who said it to me, but somebody said to me, it's not that you need a lot of opportunities, you need the right one. And for somebody tonight, this is the right conversation, the right moment, and it's going to lead to other conversations and other moments. Give me a snapshot for somebody who's listening. What piqued your interest? How did you get into trading?
So when I was a senior in high school, there was this program called Lead, and they would take seniors that did well on the PSAT to like business schools and teach us about business. So my first introduction was actually that Lead program. They took us to the Chicago Stock Exchange because I did it at Northwestern in Chicago. And that was my first introduction. I got to see people trading. I got to see the trading floor. I got to see like, oh my God, like this one guy, he was like, can you guys guess how much I make? And of course, I'm guessing big and I guessed right. So that was the first, like, oh, there's something to this. And that's when I said I went back home and Google had their IPO. I asked all my teachers, none of them knew how to do it. So then I said, okay, well, fine. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to figure this thing out myself. Went to MIT, studied management there, interned at Morgan Stanley on Wall Street. And that was the second introduction. Like, okay, I see these people, they are making money. This is real. This is a legit thing to do. But at the same time, I didn't feel like being in a cubicle for 24 hours. I didn't want to like work as hard as I saw everybody else working. So I'm like, I'm going to go do something else. But at least I know that this is real. That was the first peak.
And I think that's so powerful and so important. You never know, for somebody listening, those small moments that lead to big things. And I've led trips to the Money Museum and to the Chicago Stock Exchange. And so hearing you say that, you never know what seeds you're planting. I just want to encourage somebody to embrace exposure, because I'm gonna make sure my kids take your course so they can be exposed, and who knows what that could turn into. Hopefully they can take care of daddy. But at any rate, what is trading?
So, at the simplest level, when a company wants to raise money, one of the ways that they can do that is they say, you know what, we're going to sell a piece of our company to the public. And when we sell these pieces, that'll raise money so we can go do other things. We can expand, we can grow. Like think about Uber. When they wanted to go into Uber Eats and expand to different places, they say, you know what, we're going to do a public offering, sell pieces of our company, and raise money. So that's the overall why they're doing it. And then trading is just once we get those pieces of a company, once they sell it, we'll buy it at one price and then we turn around, sell it to somebody else for another price. It's just like any other entrepreneurship. You buy it low and then sell it high once something goes up. Like I had a candy store in high school. It's the exact same thing. I went to Costco, got the blow pops for cheap, and then I took them to the school and I sold them higher. Like literally, that's what we're doing when we trade.
I love it. Sugar daddies, Boston baked beans, now laters. I was a salesman myself.
See, then you know how to do it. It's more business sense. A lot of people think you need to know numbers, but I think it's more business savvy. If you just know buyers and sellers, if you know how to find something at a low price and then sell it when it goes a little higher, then you can do this. It's really not that difficult.
That was going to be my next question, because you described, there's so many people that are listening right now. They've never been to a stock exchange floor. They've never been to a money museum. They didn't study finance in school. I'm one of those people. Um, can we do it? Like, it feels like it's rocket science today. I'm one of those people. I'm starting with everybody else in the crowd, and so I'm like, I watch CNBC and I see all the little stock stuff at the bottom of the screen and all of that.
Mhm.
But I'm like, I don't know what these letters mean, what these numbers mean, these arrows. I understand up, down, but it feels like rocket science. Help me.
Yeah. So on the simplest level, like literally, I want you to know that you can do it. So like the first step is you open a brokerage account, and that literally is just like opening any other bank account. So that's the first step. But the thing about it is that an online brokerage account lets you buy a stock. So that's step one. And like I can do actually I'm doing a webinar. I can tell you what to look for, but there's so many online brokerages out there. And from Robinhood to E-Trade to Interactive Brokers, any of them are good places to start. I think you should pick one more robust, but we can talk about that later. So, really, you just open an account. And then the next thing is you're going to select a company to invest in. Oftentimes, people will say, well, pick something you know. But like lately, I've been trading Apple stock. Everybody, not everybody, Androids, I'm team iPhone. So, team iPhone, us, we know about, thank you. There we go.
We love the
We
Android people, though. We love the Android people.
We do. You right. You right.
Oh,
They get to charge their phone like better than us, and they have better pictures. I'll go on and admit that. But like lately, Apple stock went to like 119, and then later it went to 135. So it literally would be in that online broker. You put in the Apple ticker symbol, and then you're gonna buy at a certain price. Like let's say you bought it at 119. When it started raising to 135, you'd enter an order to sell, and then you get to keep the difference. Like it's literally that simple. Now, when the nuances and like me, the expertise comes in is, well, how do you know what price to buy and what price to sell? And then that's when I teach people how to use charts and different things to actually know the best time to get in and out. But it's literally that simple. So hopefully that takes some fear away from people.
So for me, as I'm listening to this, I'm starting to feel encouraged. I'm starting to feel like this is possible. I got my phone. I'm taking my notes. I hope those of you that are listening, you are taking notes also as we kind of work this through and talk this through and get into this. So you've got uh, I want to say it's a YouTube video that I watched. Uh, how to make $1,000 in a day.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, tell me about you making your first $1,000, and what did you do? How did you feel? And I got another question after that.
I gotta remember now. That's making me think back.
It's been so long ago.
Yes. You know what's crazy? I think I did it in a challenge on Instagram. So I feel like if people go to Teri Ijeoma on Instagram, like you gotta scroll way, way down low, you probably would see it on a challenge. Cause I remember that I challenged myself, could I make $1,000 a day for 5 days straight? And I think during that challenge, I actually ended up making like $13,000 or something that week. And it blew my mind because all I was trying to make was $1,000. But every day I ended up making more than my goal, which was crazy. Um, I think when I did it, I'm trying to remember back, but I just remember anytime that I have a goal and I reach it in trading, there's this feeling of accomplishment. And there's also this feeling of like, I'm a problem solver. So, like, the funnest part is, oh man, I did it right. I got that right. Like, I took this skill set and I did it. Like, oh, good. That's cool. And then I always have a goal that I'm like using it for. So, I paid down my student loans debt with trading. I now am saving for a house with trading. So I'm pretty sure the most exciting part was like what I was going to get to spend the money on after I made it.
I love it. Um, do you need a lot of money to trade? Because I know, there's some people who are like, I don't have no trading money. Like, how much do you need to start with?
I think if you're long term investing, then you can start with any amount. Like you can open a brokerage account with about $500 and then trade in a simulator. But if you're really starting to trade, which means getting in and out of trades for active income, I think $1,000 to $2,000 is a good place to start. And when you get to about 2,000 in your account, oftentimes the broker will also let you have a little bit more buying power so you can afford a few more shares. And that is more risky, which is why I think risk management is also important. But about 1,000 to 2,000 is a good place to start, and then you can move up.
So let's jump into a couple technical questions. We could dig in, but I wanna jump into a couple of technical questions, and I want to say to everybody watching, like I did, Teri has tons of content available. She's got courses. I say to people, if you're serious, take the course, and you might not be able to reach the cost of the course at this moment, but it's more than worth it for the kind of impact that it can have on your life and your resources. And I trade and travel.com.
Yes. Yep. That's where they can see the webinar that you saw and really get to see like what I do and how I teach. And then there's even a coupon at the end. So that's the best place to go.
Well, and let me say this really fast. I read in Black Enterprise magazine, congratulations to you, $10 million investing instructor, top investing instructor, top instructor on Teachable,
Yes.
earning $10 million on Teachable. Um,
Thank
Tell me
you.
about how you started teaching, why you started teaching. I watched the YouTube video, and again, I'm even doing this tonight. Thank you for doing this, because of the opportunity to help impact, transform, expose somebody else's life to your teaching and your work, and seeing how it's impacted so many of your students, wanting to see more people build wealth and be able to trade and travel. Uh,
Yeah.
but speak to, how'd you get into teaching and why did you get into teaching? Because you could have just kept trading and kept increasing your own revenue, and talk about that.
Yeah. What's crazy is I actually was the assistant principal of an elementary school before I started trading full time.
You were in education.
I was in education, and before that even I had worked for Teach for America training their teachers.
Mhm,
So this is a skill set that I had had for a while, but I just hadn't been using it.
mhm,
Even well, I guess I did use it a little bit at fellowship when I was like young adult or youth pastor.
mhm.
I taught the youth there, so it was a skill set I've had for a while, but I did not in my life think that I'd be teaching trading. Like my goal was literally, I just wanted an escape. I was not enjoying being an assistant principal. Like I call it my crying in the bathroom moment because every single day, either me or the other assistant principal would take turns crying in the bathroom. And it wasn't even like we like tried to like plan it like you gonna cry? I'm gonna cry. We gonna cry together? Like we didn't it wasn't like that, but it was just like the pressure of it all. And we were founding members of the school. So it was just like everything. We had so many different bosses telling us what to do. And then there was expectations and then students. And then this student threw the stapler at this student's head, but then the parent comes yelling at us. It was just like all this random stuff. And it was just so stressful. It was toxic. And I needed an exit. So when I started trading, it was literally like, Lord, I need to be able to leave, so I need to replace my income. And then I had written in my journal, because one of my friends had passed away, that the thing that I wanted to do most was trade and travel. I wanted to see the rest of the world. So when that after I had like I started trading, started getting my money up and finally got to that $300 a day, I left to just start traveling full time. The one thing that actually made me start teaching was the other people that were traveling with me kept asking me to teach them what I was doing, because they started seeing like, oh wait, Teri's making quite a bit of money over here. She don't have to talk to nobody on the phone. She don't have to have no bosses. She doesn't have to have a schedule. I got to determine my own schedule. I was making money on the beach. They would be in the water, and I'm over here. Oh, I just made some money on Chipotle stock. So So that's actually what made me start teaching. The folks around me kept asking me to teach them. And so I did a class in Thailand, and then I did another class in Vietnam. And then the people back home were like, oh, we saw you on Instagram. You going to teach us too. And that's really how I started teaching. I wasn't even trying to.
No, that's incredible. Well, everybody, tonight is the start of us learning from the master teacher herself. Thousands and thousands of students are having their lives changed, which is why we're doing this tonight. So let me jump in and just ask a couple of practical questions. And those of you in the comments, y'all could drop questions. And if we have an opportunity somewhere or another, we will get to your questions, or we'll come back, circle back, and do a Q&A session to answer your questions. Many legendary investors like Warren Buffett advocate a long-term buy and hold strategy. You teach a more active short-term trading strategy. Why should people consider trading also?
You know what? It's really based around your goals. So there's a place for buy and hold, there's a place for saving for retirement, but a lot of people right now, especially what we saw during the pandemic and COVID, they need money right now. If you lost your job, or if you got sick, you needed a way to still bring in income and use it for bills, use it for childcare, all those things. That's why you actively invest, so that you can still have your pool of money, but then use that money to actually pay for what you need. I actually had several students that got sick from COVID, and they were still able to survive. I had several students lose jobs during COVID, but they were able to still survive. So that's why it's important to be able to actively invest, so that you can still live if something goes on.
I know one of the things you say in your webinar that I thought was very significant, that piqued my interest, is, there are some people that become millionaires, but there are some people that won't. And you were talking about, an extra $100 a day. In
Yeah.
5 days, that's $700. I mean, 7 days rather. Look at my math. In 7 days, that's
Well,
700.
it's 5 trading days. You were on the right track.
All right, 5 trading days. So weekends off, that's $500 in a week. In a month, that's $2,000 extra, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm saying, or if it was $50 a day, that's an extra $250 a week, $1,000 in a month. So I'm thinking, for somebody watching tonight, you don't have to be intimidated by I'm gonna become a millionaire tomorrow. Not to have that approach. You stop yourself before you start. You've overwhelmed yourself. And as I'm thinking, an extra $25 a day, $50 a day, $100 a day would be fantastic. And so I thought it was great. In some of your content, I was reading that you talk about there is no overnight success. So
That's right. That's right. And I have some students, like I have one student in particular, and I love my seniors. And he was like, Terry, all I need is an extra $100 a week to pay for groceries. That's all he wanted. And he's been killing it like every week. And now he's like, oh, I just made my $1,000 in a day. I was like, what? But really, sometimes it's the simple things. Like if you could just make $20 a day, that's an extra $100 that can pay for groceries, medicine. And then I have another student. He wanted a car, but his wife wouldn't let him get it. So he just needs $200 a month so that he can pay his own car note without having to worry about being in the family's bank account. And that makes him happy. Terry, I get to drive what I want to drive, and I don't have to worry about, my wife is okay. So it's the little things that make a difference.
right, right. Well, I want to ask you this next question. You got a course among webinars, but you got a monster course that does a deep dive in teaching us how to trade at the highest levels to get us to that place where we can do an extra $100, $200, and even to the thousands of dollars. In your course, you got 4 main topics. Can you explain what those are for our viewers?
Yes. So when I was creating my course, I thought of everything I wish I knew when I had started investing. Because I've been trading now for 11 years. And the first 6 years were touch and go because I didn't really know what I was doing. It wasn't until I really got a system together that I started being consistent. So the first thing I wish I knew was how to pick the right companies. So many people are out here chasing, like you probably heard about the GameStop and the AMC, chasing after bad companies. But the foundation of being a good trader is picking the right company. So I teach that. Then we talk about risk management. The next part is I know when I was first learning, I kept losing money. And I have a lot of students that'll come in. I actually had one student, she had made 300,000 and then lost it all because she didn't have any kind of risk management plan. And I know these numbers sound big, but I have other students who, they've lost 500 and started crying. So like every like it's important to have a risk management plan to protect yourself from losing. Pastor G, because I know you're like, what you doing, Terry? But the third section is about technical analysis. So it's how do you know when to get into a stock and when to get out of a stock. So I was telling you guys about Apple, like knowing to get in at 119 and knowing when to get out at 135 or whatever it's at. How do you know? We figured that out with charts, which is called technical analysis. And then we put that all into a plan, and that's what takes our emotions out. When you have a trading plan, you can follow. I have a 7-step strategy. These are the 7 steps. I'm going to check off the things, do what Terry tells me to do, and I know that I've done my homework. Whether it goes well or wrong, I did my part. And that's when you start seeing that added success. So those are the first 4 classes, and then it gets more advanced from there.
There are a lot of investing courses out there. As I mentioned a minute ago, you are at the top of the courses available, period. What makes your course different?
One, I'm a teacher, and I think that makes a huge difference. Like I took some classes that were $30,000 per class, and people were in the class falling asleep because the teacher was so bad. And I was like, how in the world did you spend this much money and you sleep? But the teacher just sucked. So I think one big difference is I'm a teacher, and most of the students will say, Terry, you put it together in such a way that's so simple. You're organized. Other classes we've taken haven't been organized. And then we have everything in the course. It's not that you have to like do this and then upgrade to this and then I must, keep this on the side. Nope. You get it all right there. So I think those are some of the keys of why I am the best. That sounds so weird to say, but it's
Mary J.
true.
Blige say, I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm the best. Sometimes it's facts for some people. Sometimes it's facts. Sometimes people. Anyway, um, what do you say to somebody who says the stock market is too risky? I want to do it, but it's too risky.
Yeah, that's where our risk management comes into play because a lot of people think that trading is a gamble. And that's what, especially in our African American community, like that's kind of what's been put out there. But there are actually ways to put in stop loss orders, and that's just an order that will protect you if the stock goes down. It'll get you out of the trade. There's also ways to check out your risk reward before you even get into a trade. So, is this trade 75% more likely to be successful than not? Okay, I'm going to go for that one. We can do a lot of risk management calculations in the front end to protect us. So then it becomes a more calculated risk. In the web, go ahead.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Oh, I was just going to say in the webinar that you saw, I talked a lot about like Steph Curry. Taking a free throw is a risk. You don't know if you're going to make it or not, but then he has like a 90% free throw percentage. So you can't bank on it, but you can kind of assume that if he gets to the line, it's going to work. That's the type of things we can also do with our numbers in trading.
So for a person who's on here tonight and they're like, I hear everything you saying, and it sounds so complex. As simple as you describe it, in simple terms, again, and you said it, but I wanna drill it home for somebody. They are interested, but they need to be pushed over the line. Give me a handful of next steps that somebody would have to take or make if they were gonna move to the next phase.
Yeah. I would say one of the best things about the course is that you get to practice first in a simulator. And a lot of fear comes in where people are like, I don't want to lose my money. Well, that's why you're first investing in your education. We'll teach you what you need. And then when you're first starting, you're going to practice with fake money until you become good. Like you can actually see what happens with the fake money. You can get like see when it goes down, see when it goes up. So that hopefully will take some fears away. And then the next thing is a lot of people worry about not having enough time. And so I would knock that fear down and say, actually, it doesn't take a lot of time to trade. There are ways to do, like we call it, set it and forget it trades, where you can put your trade in the computer and just let it run. There's also ways that you can just trade for a couple hours or even an hour, do your trade and then go do something else. That's actually me. I trade for about an hour or two a day and then do something else with the rest of my day. So that's a big thing. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so it's an hour nonstop or an hour or two nonstop.
Yeah, but you know what? Like honestly, we're looking at our chart. So sometimes it'll be like you look 15 minutes in the beginning of the market, check, see how the stocks are doing. They're doing what you thought they were. Then you go do something else, check at lunch, check in the afternoon. So sometimes you don't have to be there just looking at your computer. You can just check your cell phone.
Got it. Got it.
Hmm.
Okay, you can finish. I just wanted to interject and ask that question.
No, that was good. But I really do think a lot of people, you're right. I have people that come to me and they're like, Teri, I want to take your class, but I'm nervous. And that's why I would say this is a skill set. So when you're first coming into trading, think about like, you know what, any other class, any other skill that I learned when I first started, it's a learning curve. But then once you get it, you'll have this forever for the rest of your life. So yeah, just start. You got to start somewhere.
That's great. How long is the course?
It's 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. 8 weeks for the full course, and that's with the 8 classes. But if you want to just start with the first four, it's 4 weeks.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
You teach people how to make money in a down market. What's the secret sauce?
So that's the advanced part. So I kind of stopped. So after the first 4 weeks, then I have my VIP program, and they learn how to make money on the way down.
Got
So
it.
it's called shorting. And shorting is, I'm trying to think if there's something to compare it to. But really, shorting is just selling a stock high and then buying it back low. So it'd be like selling, like say you had a piece of artwork and you sold it for $2,000. Then you found like another copy of the artwork on eBay for 1,000. Well, you sold it for 2,000 and then bought it back cheaper for 1,000, and you get to keep the difference. That's short selling.
Got it.
And that's how you make money on the way down. So my VIPs, no matter what the market is doing, they can still make money.
I want to graduate
Mhm.
to the master's program. I still know your VIP. I want to be in the master's, the graduate school, the Teri Ijeoma graduate school, graduate.
They be killing it. Cause we also cover options in there too. And options are like 100 shares of a stock at one time. Every day, like they now have a $10,000 in a day club. They every day they're telling me about all the stuff they doing. So I'm so proud. I'm so proud.
So, are there any other secrets you could give us before we get to the other content?
Yeah. So I think I'm preparing a webinar coming up that's this how to get started in the stock market. And I think one secret is people think that like you have to really know a whole bunch of stocks in order to be successful, but you can actually invest in a whole sector or a whole index. as well. So like if you wanted to invest in the whole Dow, there's a ETF called the DIA. An ETF is just when they put a lot of stocks together and you trade it as one. Or if you wanted to invest in the whole S&P 500, and I know somebody's like, what is the S&P 500? It's the top 500 companies. That's it. But if you wanted to invest in all of that as a bucket, there's an ETF called the SPY that you can invest in. So it really doesn't have to be that difficult. Even if you wanted to just follow an index and say, you know what, I heard that the stock market usually goes up over time. Teri, just show me how to invest in an overall index. Like literally, we can help you invest in ETFs. Like it's a skill set that you can use for so many things. It's really cool.
And you used a lot of words just now. I think probably among the many profound things she has said, everybody, is take the course. We got to take the course, because I think that, and you said it when you shared your own story, that in the beginning, you lost so much money in the beginning because you didn't know what you were doing. And I think sometimes we want to do something so much that we short circuit the education side of it. We don't get the know how, and we just don't like to read the manual. We just don't like to watch the tutorials. We want to just jump out there. All right, I enjoyed that. Thank you, Pastor Jenkins. Thank you, Teri. I'm gonna open me an account and I'm gonna get me some Amazon. And I think the thing that I'm hearing is to set yourself up to do well long term, because I think even again, you know, there's cost to education, right?
Mhm.
And there's a cost to the course, and I don't shrink back at saying, I've introduced this to a handful of people as I watched their webinar. I believe in supporting people uh, who have something significant to offer, especially family, and especially an African American woman who has an African American owned business, educational academic business, teaching other people how to be successful long term, and what you have the ability to create and produce. The value is there. And so I just want to say that. Um, is there anything else you would like to say or share?
I think probably two things.
Okay.
One is to your point of just African American owned, female owned business. I think one of the things that I hope to inspire is somebody to see someone that looks like them trading. So many times we think about Wall Street or we think about trading, and it's like this, Caucasian guy that's real greedy with be Wolf of Wall Street, that kind of image. And hopefully, like just seeing me and seeing that there is a young Black woman doing this and killing the game, like hopefully that will inspire other people to go for their dreams too. So I really do hope that if nothing else, I'm just an inspiration. And yeah. And I think the one other thing would be on the topic of courses. I honestly do think that taking courses is like being on the 100-meter dash, two people lined up next to each other. One is in like house shoes and totally not prepared to run this race. And then the other one has like a little bit of a head start, full Nike gear, like all the things, the best cleats. That's what taking an online course does. It just prepares you to run the race. And you, like two of you guys may be lined up, but the one who's prepared is going to run the race better. And so that's really what I'm hoping my course does. Like it prepares us because there's so many people that jumped into the Robin Hood and the trading game in the last few years, but they didn't know what they were doing. So hopefully I can help them to be more successful.
Where can people go to learn more and to connect with your courses, your webinars, and all
I'd say the first place is just go to itradeandtravel.com, itradeandtravel.com. That's where you'll find that free webinar on how to make $1,000 a day. And I actually go into more about the how to pick good companies, risk management, technical analysis, and trading plans. So that's the best place to start. And if you do want to see just more free content on my YouTube channel, Trade and Travel, have lots of things there. But ultimately, the best place to learn is to take the Trade and Travel course. So we look forward to seeing you hopefully in the class.
Where can we get the trade and travel course?
Investwithteri.com, that's the website. But I would still start with that webinar because you get a discount code in the webinar. So itradeandtravel.com, fast forward to the end.
Yeah. I'm there. I'm there. Where can we follow you on social media?
Everywhere at Trade and Travel. So if you go to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Trade and Travel, but my name on Instagram, I'm also under Teri Ijeoma. And I have a lot of people that pretend to be me. So put in the whole Teri Ijeoma, Ijeoma. And you should have like 110,000 followers if you or more. If it has less than that, that's somebody pretending. So just look for Teri Ijeoma on Instagram.
I love it. One more thing before we go, because we talked a lot about uh, working with novice investors or aspiring investors. Do you have anything for accomplished or sophisticated investors?
Yes. So I actually trained quite a few people who've done other courses and have been trading for a while. The things that they're lacking is a solid trading plan. So they don't have like their set 7 steps. So they really love that from me. They also really like learning how to short. A lot of like advanced investors have always been trading on the way up, but not known how to trade on the way down. And then options. We talk about options in the VIP, and that's like another asset class to enhance your trading. So those are some of the things that my advanced students really love.
One more question for somebody who has a crazy life like mine, and you say, I'm going to take the course, but may not feel like they have an hour in a day or 2 hours to trade. Want to know how? Are there firms, individuals, people? Are there people you recommend that can help? And I know you probably get this all the time. You trade for me. I know you get that all the time. But
I
are
do.
there? I know there are companies or firms or people you recommend or know you stay away from that.
There's not any that I recommend because oftentimes when you give your money to somebody and you don't know how to do it yourself, then they can give you anything. They can charge you anything. They can not make your money grow. So I encourage people start first learning how to do it yourself, and then you can start looking for a company to do it for you. And that's just a principle that I have, but I don't have any recommendations on that.
No, I love that. And
Mhm.
it's why I asked because I know there could be some people who. Well, let me just speak for me. I like to know how to do everything my team knows how to do, my team members. So even when there's an elementary level of education that I begin at, I'm asking questions until I'm up to speed and then I can weigh in on the process. And so I'm with you 100%. Everybody should, if you're serious about it, I know some people, you know, just enjoy listening about it. But if you're serious about creating another revenue stream, and I'm so excited. Uh, this is where you go. This is what you do if you wanna create that revenue
Yeah.
stream. Teri, thank you so much for making time. I appreciate it so much. Congratulations on everything you've done, everything you're doing, and everything you're getting ready to do.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. And to those people who are like, I want someone else to trade for me, buy the course for you and your team. That way you know, and then your team knows, and they can help you manage it.
Now, do you
Done.
have something coming up that we need to know about? Is there something coming up this week?
Yeah, so for Financial Literacy Month, every Thursday I've been teaching live webinars. So yeah, so follow me on all the places on Trade and Travel, or go to my Instagram, Teri Ijeoma, and like in the link in my bio, you can sign up for the free webinars. So yep, for Financial Literacy Month, definitely check us out on Thursdays.
I
Mhm.
love it. I love it. Make sure you tell Teri where you saw her. Ah,
Yes.
with PCJ. Well, listen, this has been incredible. I cannot wait. And listen, y'all keep it locked. Y'all stay close because we're gonna keep coming back. And do you have a challenge for the people yet?
Say, watch the webinar and then let's go. Like, watch the webinar, sign up for the class, and then let's go. And then, oh yeah, we said if they put questions, we'll come back to and answer their questions.
Yes. So everybody watch the webinar. Make sure you comment on Teri's pages, my pages, and let us know you watched it. And what we want to do is create a whole world to get y'all investing and see some lives transformed and ultimately households, blocks, neighborhoods, and cities transformed. Listen, y'all, thank you for hanging with us. It's been amazing.